Well, hello and welcome to Soap Secrets. We're going to start with Coronation Street, aren't we, Claire?
Yes, we are.
Okay, Gary, last week was in a complete panic.
He was. Because work had started on County's new training ground, a site where Gary had buried Rick's body. So...
Yeah, of course. Another body.
We've waited 3 long years, and Rick's body is finally found during construction. So...
Oh, okay.
Yes, it had to come up at some point.
It did have to. But of course, Kelly now has to face that, the idea that her father's really dead.
Yes. I think up until this point, she really thought that he might just pop back, just come in and say, hello, Kelly. Sorry, I've been gone.
Yeah, the hope. It's the some hope is better than no hope, I suppose, at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yes. So, here it is. The body is identified as Rick's, and, now she knows her dad is really, really dead. And no one is looking at Gary for Rick's murder. So Gary has got away with it. Gary's an interesting character because he murdered Rick in self-defense, but that is murder, and then he did hide the body. But Gary is all about family, and I think this is what makes Coronation Street do these characters really well, because it gives him a bit of redemption. What do you think, Hannah?
I think there is that, isn't there? That's that redemption piece, and also it kind of gives there's a bit more time to invest in those people.
Yes, it does. So Kelly, he's really taken. He's really looked after Kelly, and he thinks of her more as a daughter. And she says that she's really grateful to have Maria and Gary on her side, and he's taken her in when she had all those problems. He's given her support. He's helped her mum Laura, who is dying of cancer. She's going through a lot. Her mum's got terminal cancer. Dad's body's just turned up dead. But Gary knows that he killed her dad.
Well, yeah.
Which was really...
I mean, that's really awful, because there he is, as a support, but really knowing that he did it.
Yes, I know. And it does get a bit much for him. I would imagine it would get a bit much for everybody. And he tells Maria that he's going to confess to Rick's murder. Will he?
Oh, well, I don't think he will when it comes to it, because what does that mean? I mean, it means him going out of the show. Do we think I don't think he's going anywhere at the moment.
No, I don't want Gary to go.
No.
I think they're really settling down, because, Maria's now, a counsellor, and I think that's given her something. She's really good at that. Her and Sally do really good scenes together. Gary's, as a family unit with little Liam, I don't think it's that little anymore, but anyways, with Liam and Kelly, they're kind of a good family unit.
They really are. And I think that it would be a shame to break that unit.
Yeah.
Okay, watch this space then.
Yes.
How long can he... I mean, he might not confess to it, but how long can he actually get away with it? And judging by many other soaps, quite a long time, it would seem. Now, for Abby, the day's arrived, hasn't it? Because she's got to go to court to hear whether social services are going to take little Alfie away.
Yes, and I wouldn't really like to say that things are going to go her way, because let's be honest, she was high on drugs when she gave birth. She abandoned her baby, and she'd also stolen a car that day. I think there's 3 black marks against her there. So
that's the trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, those are 3 big black marks.
They really are. I mean, do you think that? Imran, of course, is our solicitor.
Yes.
Irony. And pleads her case, but I mean, I don't know if it's enough for Abby. What do you think?
We have to tune in to find out. I would suspect, with those 3 black marks, that it possibly wouldn't go her way. And Imran, because we all know he's the dad, he's desperate. He doesn't want his son to go into care either.
No. But I don't understand this, because if he's prepared to sort of put his name to the baby, so to speak, surely you would go. The biological parent would be offered the baby before going into care, which would mean that he would be, which means that it comes back to the story of whether Toya can oversee that. They get the baby. It's all very convoluted, isn't it?
It is very convoluted. The bottom line is Imran hasn't yet stepped up, has he?
No.
To be a dad.
No,
he hasn't. He hasn't stepped up and said that is my son and said it publicly. So he said he's going to do everything he can. So he said he'll even put his name on Alfie's birth certificate. Woohoo! Really, that's a bit poor. He needs to step up and be a man, Hannah. He needs to be a man, doesn't he?
Well, he needs to front up. It's the Toya part that he's struggling with.
Yes. Kevin and Toya both still don't know that Imran is the father of little Alfie, and that needs to come out. He needs to, if he wants to be a part of his son's life, this has to come out. It just has to come out.
It has to.
So he's doing all he can in court. We'll have to wait and see whether he can do enough. So will the secret be discovered? Well, this week it is well and truly blown apart. So the fact that Imran is the father of little Alfie, Toya bumps into Abby and she's holding a package. Now we know that Abby's been doing drugs, and Toya's a little because Abby's can't really look her in the eye and is feeling really guilty, so she's acting oddly.
Yeah, funnily enough.
So Toya thinks she's acting oddly because she's on drugs, but actually she's acting oddly because she feels guilty. So Toya tells Kevin about this package and thinks that Abby's back on drugs. So when Abby goes out of the room, Kevin opens the package, and inside the package is the birth certificate, and he gets the shock of his life when he reads the certificate.
So that will be blown apart. It will all be blown apart because he will not be able to keep that to himself.
No. What will Kevin do? Well,
tell Toya.
I think he's going to get a megaphone out.
And do you know what is the best thing that could happen in the circumstances? Probably, although there's hurt.
Yes.
God.
It's messy.
Yeah, it is messy. It's very, very messy. And of course, because Toya wants a baby, and it's just so messy. And of course, Abby doesn't want this baby to go either. So it's not like she's a mother going, well, yeah, I just can't look after my baby and I want you to. She wants the baby herself.
Yes. Well, she's lost all her babies, hasn't she?
She has, yeah.
Seb was murdered and her twins were taken into care. They were placed, they were adopted, and now they live in Australia.
Yeah.
So she's lost all her babies.
She's lost everything. That's just so sad. Well, on that horribly sad note, let's move to Emmerdale, which I believe is not a lot less sad. It's a lot of unhappiness this week.
There is. So Charity's all alone because Mack stropped off to Scotland after his after his relationship with Charity faltered. You know what Charity's like.
Yeah.
Vanessa came back. They were flirting madly. Yeah. Matt could see it. He's not an idiot, you know.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They nearly kissed. This destroyed Mack. The fans and I actually really like Charity Mack together. I think they make a great couple. He's really bedded in well as a character, Mack.
Yeah. Is this him gone for good?
No, they made a great couple, and we have to remember that Mack's also great with her kids. He was fabulous with Ryan when his adopted mum died, and he gave Noah manly advice about how to woo Chloe, shall we say? A little bit of advice there. So I think that's a really nice thing to do, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. She'd be mad to let him go.
Yeah, she would. So yes, Moira, Mack's sister, is gunning for Charity for hurting her brother. So
I mean, because she's got real, she's completely able to stand there and on her soapbox, isn't she?
I know.
Whiter than white.
No, she didn't have an affair with her husband's son. So let's just pop that one to one side. I know, and she also killed Emma, and she hasn't yet been arrested for that. But anyway, So will Charity get a second chance with Mack, or will Moira get her revenge for hurting her brother? Will he come back down from Scotland and say let's give it another go, or will he stay up there?
When you say revenge. She's not going to be starting to try and murder someone else, is she?
No, but she could, she could just, it's a bit of a falling out between girls, perhaps.
Yeah, true. Okay, and of course they've got the whole Rona and Marlon storyline, haven't we? Because Rona's struggling with the shock of Marlon's stroke, understandably.
Yes, I think everyone's struggling. Poor Rona, they've got 2 children. They've got April and Leo. Obviously she'd have to take time off from work because she's a busy vet. Marlon's in hospital, unable to communicate. It's very shocking. And you know what? Marlon's best friend, Paddy, is really struggling to cope. And he could really do more to support Rona and Marlon in their time of need because she really needs help. And, Paddy's meant to be Marlon's best friend, but it's interesting when big things happen. Sometimes people take time before they can accept and deal with it. And I think Paddy is really struggling to deal with Marlon's stroke and what it might mean for their relationship. And and it's hard for him to see his friend unable to communicate.
Yeah, awful. And it's not something that's going to be resolved overnight.
No. Emmerdale are going to do this properly. Strokes aren't resolved overnight. They take a long time to recover from, and I think the storyline will reflect the struggles that Rona and Marlon will go through.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on to Hollyoaks. I'm not hopeful of much happiness here, but John Paul and all the other teachers took the kids away, didn't they, last week on a camping trip, and the minibus that John Paul was driving crashed.
It did.
It was a big deal. But this week we see the police reveal their final verdict on the crash because we kind of weren't sure, were we, about why it had happened.
Yes. So they reveal their final verdict on the crash, and it's emotional as the devastating consequences of the crash are revealed. What are they?
You tell me, Claire.
So, Charlie and Mason doubt that the cause of the crash was a bird and they hunt for the truth. Well, did John Paul take a sip of that alcohol that was in his jacket pocket, in his puffer jacket? He found a bottle of vodka, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I think everyone... And I kind of wondered whether we'd put 2 and 2 together and made 5 here and there's something bigger.
Well, we don't know. It could be anything. Was he overtired? He had been driving. They got lost. It was dark. Tiredness kills. That's what they say. Those are the big motorway
messages.
Adverts.
Yeah,
messages you get. Yeah. So did tiredness? Was that one of the reasons why he crashed? It'll all come out.
Yeah. Okay. And the once it is out though, there's a couple that aren't quite prepared to believe the police's verdict.
Yes. So Charlie and Mason don't believe it, and also John Paul receives a note that reveals somebody knows his secret. Who is the sender of the note? He's been blackmailed. That could be a storyline that goes on for a while. That could. Now, Hollyoaks, they always have blackmail. That's kind of like standard practice in Hollyoaks.
It's true.
Got any secret, someone's going to blackmail you.
Yeah, they do. And it will be something. I mean, I feel like his kind of situation has got a bit of, it will run a bit because you're kind of seeing somebody in turmoil. Okay, and Misbah was feeling pretty lovelorn several weeks ago and wanted to start online dating.
Yes, but this week Chloe witnesses Misbah becoming all nervous around Zayn. Oh. So does she need the online dating? Because I think she's getting flustered around Zayn. So can Cleo give the pair a push to get them together?
Ooh,
that'd be nice for Misbah to have a man.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice. And I don't really think online dating and Misbah are really going to work.
No, I don't think that's not a match made in heaven. And there's some real disappointment for Luke, isn't there? Because he's had his heart set on a clinical trial for his early onset of dementia. But this doesn't look like it's going to work out.
No. So the company accepts him, but then asks for a £30,000 down payment. That seems an awful lot of money to me. I thought they paid you to take part in these trials.
30 grand.
Yeah. Misbah urges Cindy to hold off raising the money until she's found out if the trial is legit.
Good idea. Good thinking.
What is in store for Luke? So this is a soap, so very possibly it's a scam, but we'd have to tune in to find out. I don't want Luke to be scammed, because this kind of thing's really horrible, because people are desperate for...
Yes, and they will do things in desperation. Absolutely.
Yes, it is horrible. So yeah, so perhaps it's a good storyline that Hollyoaks are covering.
Yeah, I think it probably is, actually. Scamming is a big thing generally, isn't it, at the moment? And when people are desperate and coming into sort of like the cost of living crisis that we're heading into fast and furiously, unfortunately, scammers plague on the vulnerable.
Yes.
Now, EastEnders. Well, I do remember, but Bernie's pregnant, isn't she, with Rainey and Stuart's baby?
I know. We'd almost forgotten about this, because Bernie hasn't been seen since October.
Yeah.
That's quite,
she went to stay with her brother, didn't she?
Yes, brother Keanu. So, so after crumbling under the stress of it all, she went to stay with Keanu. Now, Hannah, she's back, and she's very, 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 very pregnant.
Okay, so there's going to be a problem about handing this baby over?
Well, she's about to pop. So we know all is not well in the Highway household, and we know that Stuart has breast cancer and is refusing conventional treatment. Conventional treatment. He's preferred a more holistic approach.
Okay. But it's spreading, isn't it?
Yes, because the holistic approach isn't really working for him. So he goes to see the doctor, and the doctor says, your cancer's grown, and Stuart needs to start conventional treatment right now. So into this mix, Bernie's back, and Rainey is worried that Bernie might not hand over the baby. Okay. Once she discovers that Stuart has cancer, but she is relieved that Bernie's still planning on handing the baby over to the Highways, and she wants her money as soon as the baby's born, because obviously the Taylors are always broke. But as Bernie discovers Stuart's cancer, she marches over there to confront them, because she didn't know about this, and I think she wants the best for her baby, as she confronts them, everything gets a bit, shouty. Her waters break, Hannah. Of course they do.
How's that?
We have a shout. She doesn't just sit there, go make a cup of tea and go, I think my waters have broken. Yeah. And she goes into labour. And so Rainey lies that Stuart is beating his cancer. And Bernie gives birth to a little baby boy.
Oh.
That's lovely. But this makes Rainey really, really, she sees the little baby, and she can't lie to Bernie, so she tells her the truth about Stuart and his cancer. And as the couple anxiously await Bernie's decision, will she decide to hand the baby over?
Oh, because of the cancer situation. She doesn't. Yeah, the thing is, I don't know. I was always the worry with something like that. I'd imagine. Yes. I don't suspect there's the relative documents in place. No. This is Albert Square. Exactly. So, how much more drama can the Taylors take, Hannah? Because, poor Karen, she's just learnt that Gray murdered her daughter. Now her other daughter's just given birth, may not hand the baby over, and makes her a single mum. That's another mouth to feed in the Taylor household, possibly. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Karen also has learned that Gray murdered her daughter, and now her other daughter has just given birth and may not hand the baby over. I mean, it's like it's just like a catalogue, isn't it, of things happening.
I know, and she and there's also Mack and Mia. So they've just got she's very, very welcoming, Karen, but they're not. They always struggle financially as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's all of a pickle, isn't it?
It is. It's very messy.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's all happening in the soaps this week. Now, this is actually our last episode of Soap Secrets. We've absolutely loved doing it, and we really hope you've enjoyed listening to. Maybe one day we'll be back, but for now, we're having a little hiatus. But as I say, thank you for listening.